It is 9:04 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning. My name is Chris Hand, and I am broadcasting live from my living room. We have a snow day today, and it is going to be a fantastic day. We're very excited about it. And just a point of note, if you're in the Murfreesboro area, I'm heading to that MTSU sledding hill come about 12:03. Me and the kids, we're going to be down there. The one right off of Rutherford Boulevard, because that is the best hill at MTSU to sled down. So if you want to meet me out there, I'm going to be there tomorrow as well, probably around 10 a.m. I mean, we are just jazzed about the snow. That being said, we are going to keep you updated because I understand the majority of the listening audience is going to be in their cars today. So I want you to be safe, and I want you to know that we're going to keep you updated as we go along. You know, listen, it's going to get a little bit hectic out there. The snow is definitely falling in the borough. I know it's falling all over Middle Tennessee. So if you have to be out on the roads, take it slow. Pump those brakes. Tap, tap, tap-a-roo. You don't want to be slamming those things. You don't want to be jerking the wheel. You don't want to be slamming the gas. Just smooth all the way around. That's what you need to be doing. Smooth. Pump the brakes. Go slow. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, and we got a lot to cover. Again, we will keep you updated on the roads. Mason is back in the studio, and we'll check the roads periodically throughout the show to give you the latest update. That way, you're in the know. I did want to note, and I don't know if Joan is on right now, but did you hear her in the last newscast? What a pro to make it through a newscast while choking. She's unbelievable. Also happening this morning, the Supreme Court has denied Trump's request to halt sentencing last night. So we're going to be keeping our eyes on Donald Trump in the New York courtroom. I wonder what's going to happen there. Now, I've seen texts from friends who say, hey, I understand they said Trump's not going to go to jail, but I'm worried that at the last minute they're going to pull out the rug from underneath him. I don't necessarily agree. He's appearing via Zoom. If they do sentence him to jail, he's just going to say no. No. And part of me, for the hilarity of the situation, wishes they would. I do. Part of me, for just the downright funniness of the situation, I hope that they do. I hope that they send him to jail. But they won't. They won't. Hey, also, a programming note. Listen, if you're going to be snowed in all weekend, Turning Point USA and Daily Wire is distributing this, but it's a Turning Point USA documentary, free all weekend long, called Identity Crisis. And I am very, very excited about this documentary. I know the guy that directed it, Marcus Wada, great guy. I know all the cameramen. And Riley Gaines is in this documentary, and it's going to expose the rise of gender ideology and its impact on kids through testimonies of detransitioners, parents, and experts. Now, you can watch it for free all weekend long before they put it on Daily Wire Plus, before it goes behind a paywall next week. So I highly suggest that you do that. And if you want to watch the documentary as you're snowed in this weekend, at Chris Hand on Air, I've retweeted the link so you can find it there. And we got so much to cover. So much to cover. Donald Trump had a press conference last night. We got wildfires raging in California. And the Jimmy Carter funeral yesterday. Did you watch any of the Jimmy Carter funeral? I mean, there was a lot of stuff that we can walk away from the Jimmy Carter funeral and go, ooh, that was strange. A lot of people making a bit of noise about the interaction between Trump and Obama, and we'll cover what the so-called professional lip readers have determined that they were saying momentarily. But I was a little bit more taken aback by the fact that Trump shook hands with Mike Pence. That was odd. That struck me as odd. Obama, he came in. He didn't shake Trump or Melania's hand, but he shook everyone else's hand. George Bush walked right past Trump. It's like, whatever. Thanks, dude. He slapped Obama in the stomach and then shook hands with everybody else. But Obama, Trump, having lots of laughs. Clinton's walking in, ignoring Bush, Obama, and Trump. It was just really interesting to see the dynamics there, was it not? But we got a sentencing happening this morning. This is the big story. And Mason, I see you in the studio there. If you can pull up that Stephen A. Smith audio for me, this is basically Stephen A. Smith is like my spirit animal when it comes to the Trump sentencing, because he kind of says what we're all thinking. You're sensing him? Why? Play the clip when you can, Mason. This is unreal.
You might be surprised with what I have to say about this. This is the kind of stuff that just validates assertions about stuff being politicized. Maybe not specifically with Trump, but the suspicion definitely is there. What is the purpose of this?
Honestly.
Is he going to jail? Is he going to jail? You're going to get a fine? We got to sit up there and go through all the pomp and circumstance when you know you're not going to do anything.
Honestly. I love is he going to jail? Is he going to jail? Is he going to jail? He's not going to jail. This is just ridiculous at this point, but here we are. Here we are. There was also a massive press conference last night, which was pretty cool late in the evening. You know, Trump was having a meeting with Republican governors down at Mar-a-Lago, and it was really cool. I mean, huge table, all the Republican governors around. You had all of them. And what was talked about was very, very cool. But Trump acknowledged in the beginning of this meeting, of this press conference, that it was a love fest, and it was classic Trump. He's like, you feel the love in the room? It's a love fest. Can you play that clip for me, the love fest clip, Mason? Because Trump with Republican governors, it absolutely was a love fest last night.
So we had a great meeting with almost every senator, Republican senator, and I would say that first of all, it was a love fest. This is a love fest too, I believe. I'll let you know in about an hour. But this is pretty much a love fest. I mean, the governors aren't exactly chopped liver, right? This is a group of people that have done a phenomenal job, and especially when you see what's going on in Los Angeles and all. You look at the way they've run their states, it's incredible. I talk about it all the time. The top 25 states, and I don't believe we have any in the list of crime. So every one of them is a Democrat-run state. We want to get along with the Democrats. I'm trying to be nice. We're going into a new term. It's going to be a great time for them. I'm going to call it the golden age. I believe we have a chance at the golden age of America. But I have to tell you, you look at the crime, it's all on the shoulders of Democrats and the way they run their states. And if these people ran those states, same people, same everything, but you put these people in those states, you wouldn't have crime like that at all.
He's right. He's right. Where's the lie? Where's the lie? But you have this huge table, horseshoe-shaped table, every Republican governor sitting around Trump, and I do love that everybody's getting on the same page. See, we often say that with the Democrats, listen, they're always in lockstep, and the Republicans just aren't that way. It does seem like Trump is unifying the party, and the Republican governors meeting last night was another example of that. Now, they didn't just joke and call it a love fest. They actually broke some news, and it was very interesting. You had the governor of Louisiana and the governor of Virginia discussing drones with Donald Trump. Peter Ducey was there, and he asked Trump about the drones, because that story completely disappeared. And I think maybe that's by design. I think they don't really want us talking about the drones. And after you hear from what the governors are saying, you'll understand exactly why. But Trump says we're going to get a report on the drones on day one. Mason, play the clip.
Kind of disappeared very suddenly. Do you have any idea whatever happened to the drones?
What happened to drones?
Well, you said that you thought the government knew what was happening with these drones over New Jersey. There were some by Bedminster.
I don't know. They're over Bedminster a lot, so I can imagine. I'm going to give you a report on drones about one day into the administration, because I think it's ridiculous that they're not telling you about what's going on with the drones. And it's not only with me. Glenn was telling me today that in Virginia they have drones all over the place, too, and nobody's reporting it. I don't know why they're not. Do you want to say something about that?
Just one quick comment, which is we are home to the largest naval base in the world in Quantico, and we house a lot of the SEAL teams and have a huge national security infrastructure. And now for 2 years running, we have had drone incursion over secure airspace.
2 years.
And we still don't know why. And I think that's absolutely unacceptable. And I think President Trump and the new leadership coming in, I think, will work diligently to understand who's behind this and what we do in order to stop the digital surveillance of all of our secure infrastructure.
Yeah. Honestly, we do need to know who is behind this. It's mind-blowing that Youngkin is saying, yeah, we've had drones over Quantico for 2 years, and we don't know why. How do we not know why? We're the most powerful country in the world. We have an intelligence apparatus that knows no bounds, and we don't know why there are drones over our major military bases. That's a little weird. That's interesting, and I think Donald Trump is going to get to the bottom of it. But it wasn't just Glenn Youngkin. The Louisiana governor had a similar experience during the terror attack that took place on New Year's Day. Mason, keep the clip going.
Well, I can tell you this. While we were dealing with a terrorist attack in New Orleans, we had drones being flown over our nuclear reactors in Louisiana. And we brought that attention to the FAA. We've been asking the FAA to give these states the ability to mitigate these drones, and it's sitting on some bureaucrat's desk. And that's real.
Nobody knows. They don't want to talk about it. Go ahead, Governor, you're going to say?
I was just going to say we have drones in Wyoming flying over our infrastructure as well. And it's incredibly frustrating that we not only have no way of knowing what it is, but nobody knows how to deal with them.
They don't want to talk about it, and nobody knows why. They don't want to talk about it. That could be us sending drones. I hope that's the case, us doing it and doing research, and maybe they don't want to talk about it from that standpoint. I hope it's not an enemy, but we're going to find out on the 21st, the day after. You have to give me a little time for the inauguration, but shortly thereafter, we'll give you a report on it. We'll tell you exactly what it is. They know, and it's very strange that they aren't talking about it.
Yeah, listen. You got Quantico in Virginia. You got New Jersey, Bedminster, as Trump mentioned. You heard the Louisiana governor there saying that they flew over a nuclear site, a nuclear reactor, during the terror attack while everybody's distracted. That's a little strange. And then the governor of Wyoming saying they're flying over critical infrastructure. Who could this be? Now, listen, the tinfoil hat in me says it's China. That's where I would go. China. But I don't know. I know, listen, that's where I go. Listen, I don't have any security clearances, so I'm just guessing. And it seems like everybody's just guessing right now because we don't have any real answers. Trump says that's going to change on day one. Hopefully it's our guys. Hopefully. Listen, that would be good. That would be good. But we don't know for sure, and we're not going to know for sure until we have real leadership in there that's going to be honest with the American people. Real quick, it is a snow day, and we do understand that while I'm broadcasting from the coziness of my living room, the majority of the listening audience is on the roads. Mason, how are the roads looking right now?
The roads are a little wild. I don't know why you would be leaving your house right now, except for us busy bees that are here at work. Storm's supposed to be going until about 6 a.m. tomorrow on Saturday. But it looks like we got a couple crashes on the road on 440 eastbound before Hillsborough Pike exit 3 there. Got a crash with the right 2 lanes blocked. Jumping over towards 40 westbound near Stewart's Ferry Pike at exit 219. Got the left lanes blocked from a crash there. So make sure we're taking it nice and slow on the roads because those roads are very icy. Just looking outside of the studio right now, they are covered in snow. So just take it nice and slow. If you can stay home, please stay home. But if not, please make sure you're taking those bigger roads because they're going to be more clear, but still take them nice and slow if you can.
Yes, honestly, I'm looking out my studio window here from the living room, and I see 4 very, very happy kids throwing snowballs. Well, let me change that. 3 very, very happy kids because one of them just got clocked. But they're having a good time. Listen, if you're driving, make sure you're pumping those brakes. Give them a little tappy. Tap, tap, taparoo. You don't want to be slamming those things.
Yeah, never slam on your brakes. That's the immediate cause of a slide for sure.
Yes. Any instant motion, like you jerk that wheel instantly, you accelerate too fast. Everything's got to be slow, smooth, and steady from the steering wheel to the gas to the brakes.
Yeah, don't make them harsh taps too. Make them like light, just segmented little taps there.
I grew up in snow. I grew up in Boston, and it's like
I thought it was Canada. Hold on.
Yeah, honestly.
Sorry, I got it.
You might get annoyed when somebody in front of you is going a little bit slow. Don't try and go around them. Stay behind them and stay in those fresh tracks. I mean, that's the safest spot for you.
Yeah.
In all honesty. But we got a lot to cover. Listen, Donald Trump is giving this press conference last night at Mar-a-Lago. He's got a horseshoe table of all the Republican governors around, and he was asked about all of the CEOs who have come to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the ring? Peter Ducey asked this question, and Ducey says, have these CEOs changed? Because, I mean, listen, let's be honest. It's been like Bezos and Zuckerberg. It's been everybody. Some of these guys effectively kicked President Trump off their platforms. Looking at you, Zuck. So Trump was asked about this. Have these CEOs that have come down here changed when they're kissing the ring, or are they just sucking up? If you can play that clip for me, Mason.
Sorry, give me just a second here.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's funny because we all talk about this with the CEOs. Personally, I think that they're just worried about, in the case of Facebook, maybe an antitrust suit coming against them from the censorship that they levied against Donald Trump and conservatives, not just in the past 4 years, but in the lead up to 2020 as well. So this is a question that a lot of people have been wanting to ask Donald Trump, and Peter Ducey got to ask him it last night.
Last couple weeks, a lot of CEOs, including some who censored you 4 years ago, have been coming down here basically to kiss the ring. Did they change or did you change?
Well, maybe we all changed. I think they've gained a lot of respect. I think they looked at the mandate that we got. As you know, we won the popular vote, as I said. We won all 7 swing states. They said, well, if Trump would win, I had to win 3 because I had a lot of early voting going on, and we had to win 3, and we won all 7. And we won them by a lot. We didn't win them by a little. We won them by a lot.
My favorite part of that clip, maybe we all changed. Did they change? Maybe we've all changed. Maybe we've all changed.
That's so good.
Deep thoughts from Donald Trump. We got some more audio from that press conference. He's got some thoughts on Canada, and we're going to dive into that. Plus, the governor of Canada, he was on CNN yesterday talking about becoming the 51st state, or not becoming the 51st state, depending on who you ask. It has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? 51st state.
Would be nice.
It sounds good. Sounds good. The snow's falling in Middle Tennessee. And listen, with the snow this week, most people are focused on stocking up on groceries, right? I hope you already made it there. Most people, I would bet, are salting their driveways right now and leaving their faucets dripping. But when that snow melts and it's over and done, right? It's over and done? No, that's wrong. This is when you need to check your foundation for cracks and your basement for water leaks. If you have the tiniest crack in your basement, when that snow melts, the water is going to end up in your home. And what happens if pipe bursts? If that remains unseen, it can turn into even bigger problems: mold, wood rot, the need for structural repair. Stay ahead of the curve. Stay ahead of water damage. Call United Structural Systems. USS has over 30 years of experience in basement and wall and crawl space waterproofing, basement wall stabilization, and foundation repair. USS inspections are absolutely free, and they don't sell you unnecessary repairs. You're not going to get a sales guy there with a quota trying to upsell you. That's not the deal with USS. They'll guarantee their best, and they'll come with a custom solution for your home. They won't leave until the job is done, and when they do, they'll leave a lifetime warranty. Even if you leave the house, they're so confident their guarantee can stay. Call them today. The number for USS, 615. Oh, hang on one second. The computer just froze. Why does this always happen to me? 615-488-7855. This is what happens when you broadcast from your living room. 615-488-7855. When the snow melts, call USS. Online at ussTN.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
We have breaking news. President Trump has just been sentenced in the hush money case. We'll tell you his reaction. Also, there are car crashes filling up the traffic center screen as the roads become slippery. Those stories at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Yeah, we're following that as well. They're calling it an unconditional discharge. So now whenever a leftist tells you he's a convicted felon, I just want to channel my inner Stephen A. Smith and say, did he go to jail? Did he go to jail?
Going to jail? He going to jail?
No, he's not, actually. He's not. Spoiler alert. Donald Trump, the 47th president, not going to jail. We knew he wasn't.
Is he going to jail? He going to jail?
No, he's not. He's not. Spoiler alert. He's not. He's just going to restore world peace through strength. He's going to get us the Panama Canal. He's going to get us Greenland, and he's eyeing Canada. He's got his eyes on Canada. Trump was at a press conference last night, and he's got a round table, horseshoe table of Republican governors from all the Republican states, and they're all sitting around him, and he was asked about Canada. And his answer, well, it's not going to surprise you, but this is President Trump on Canada becoming the 51st state.
Called him Governor Trudeau because they should be the 51st state, really. It would make a great state. And the people of Canada like it. They pay lower taxes. They have virtually no military. They have a very small military. They pay less than 1%. They're about the lowest payer in NATO. They're supposed to pay much more. They haven't been paying. They have a lot of problems. And I was with Wayne Gretzky. I said, Wayne, would you like to be the governor of Canada? I can't imagine anybody doing any better than Wayne. Wayne was not too interested, but I think he probably would have liked statehood. He's a friend of mine. He's a great guy. He's the great one. We call him the great one, right? He's a great hockey player. But I will say this. I think that it was stated pretty strongly a couple of weeks ago about Canada, and people laughed, and now they're all saying, well, it's very interesting.
Yeah, it is very interesting. It activates the almonds, if you will. A couple things. I love that Trump says, we call him the great one, like nobody's ever heard it before. And he came up with it like it's like an inside Mar-a-Lago thing. Like, oh, it's just between us. We call him the great one. That's hilarious. But Trump has more to say about Canada. And Justin Trudeau was on CNN yesterday reacting to the 51st state talk. We'll cover all of that after the news with Joan Jones, which starts right now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
"9:30 now, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Well, breaking news, President Trump has just been sentenced to unconditional discharge for his conviction last year in the hush money case. He'll serve no jail time and receive no penalty. From Florida, he's making an appearance before that judge via Zoom, and Trump has been able to address the court, telling that judge this has been a very terrible experience. He told the court that he thinks it's been a tremendous setback for New York and the New York court system. With the sentencing behind him, Trump will now be able to appeal that case, and he promises that he will do just that. Pennsylvania Democrat Senator John Fetterman says he will accept President Trump's invitation for a meeting at Mar-a-Lago. In a statement, the Democrat senator said, quote, "No one is my gatekeeper." Fetterman says he will have conversations with anyone if it helps him to deliver for Pennsylvania. Now, in addition to accepting that invitation to Mar-a-Lago, Fetterman also recently met with Pete Hegseth, Trump's nominee to be defense secretary. Well, with the snow continuing to fall in the Nashville region today, just a reminder that the roads were already below freezing when this all started because of our recent temperatures. So the snow is sticking to the roads, and it's making things a bit hazardous right now. We're watching as there are some accidents this morning, especially on 40 and 24 I-440 as well. Those areas this morning pretty slick as this snow continues to fall. And the intensity of the storm is expected to pick up in the coming hours, too. So in the far southern regions, there may be some sleet mixed in as well. So this will all change a little bit as the day goes on. Keep it here on WTN, and we will keep you updated all day long. That's the latest news. We've got weather coming up. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 932 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Chris Hand broadcasting live from the living room on this snow day. And while you're sitting in your living room on the snow day, I hope you are, and you're thinking about what are you going to do next week, maybe next weekend after the snow melts, how about you book a session at the Glock store, a training session at the Glock store? When I go to train, and I really should go more often, I head down to the Glock store, the shoot270.com indoor ranges. They have private shooting rooms and personal instructors, not multiple lanes and a stranger shooting next to you. And in 2025, they have a new year, new deal, and it's unbelievable all month long. You book a shooting session at shoot270.com, and you'll get to shoot a full auto H&K suppressed MP5. I have shot this gun, and it is unbelievable. You are going to have so much fun doing it, and you get to do it for free just by mentioning my name, Chris Hand. All you got to do is pay for the ammo. It's that simple. Book your session at shoot270.com. Get down there, mention my name. They'll let you rent the gun for free. It is going to be worth every second. It's going to be so much fun. The right way to train is with a personal instructor in a private shooting room, and after every session, you're going to walk out better and more confident. And all January long, you'll experience the thrill of shooting an MP5. The incredible, incomparable shoot270.com, only in Nashville, only at my place to train, the Glock store. Book your session right now, shoot270.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
I called him Governor Trudeau because they should be the 51st state, really. It would make a great state. And the people of Canada like it. They'd pay lower taxes. They have virtually no military. They have a very small military. They pay less than 1%. They're about the lowest payer in NATO. They're supposed to pay much more. They haven't been paying. They have a lot of problems. And I was with Wayne Gretzky. I said, Wayne, would you like to be the governor of Canada? I can't imagine anybody doing any better than Wayne. Wayne was not too interested, but I think he probably would have liked statehood. He's a friend of mine. He's a great guy. He's the great one. We call him the great one, right? He's a great hockey player. But I will say this. I think that there's, it was stated pretty strongly a couple of weeks ago about Canada, and people laughed. And now they're all saying, well, it's very interesting. And
yeah, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand, broadcasting live from the living room on this snow day here in beautiful Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I've seen some tweets. I've seen some texts. People are giving me grief for the door being open behind me. That's the door to the Florida room. It's heated. So, if you're watching on Super Talk TV, we are not leaving our doors open on this snow day, I can assure you.
What? You didn't want to bring a little bit of Canada into your room?
No, we don't want Canada in here. I got 4 kids outside playing, and they're having the absolute best time. Just as much fun, I would imagine, as Donald Trump has when he's talking about Canada becoming the 51st state. The trolling has been hilarious, but I think he's been going after Canada a little bit hard, and maybe you've seen this as well. DC Drano on Twitter saying, it's because they have so much involvement with the CCP. So, Canada's co-opted by the CCP. There's a reason why Trump is paying extra attention to Canada, why the troll continues. But the troll continued last night. It's Trump sitting at a horseshoe round table with all of the Republican governors. They all descended on Mar-a-Lago to get on the same page, and I love that. Listen, the Democrats are on the same page. We should be on the same page. And he had more to say about the 51st state.
And I say from the standpoint of the United States, we're subsidizing Canada $200 and $250 billion a year. We have massive deficits. They've taken about 20% of our car business. I'd rather do it here. We could put tariffs on. We don't have tariffs on them yet, but that will happen. But they've taken about 20% of our car business. I'd rather have it done in Detroit or have it done in South Carolina or any other state that does cars, and we have a lot of them. We don't need Canada for that. We don't need Canada for lumber because we have big forests that we have, not utilized. In some cases, they're protected, which I can take that protection off. And you take down a tree and you grow a better tree. That's, pretty common. But we don't need anything. We don't need their fuel. We don't need their energy. We don't need their oil and gas. We don't need anything that they have. And I said to Trudeau, I said, why are we subsidizing you $200 and $250 billion a year? He said, I really don't know. And I said, well, I don't know either. I said, what would happen to Canada if we didn't? He said, Canada would be obliterated if that happened. I said, then Canada should be a 51st state. And that's where we are now.
He's a beast. He's a beast. Why do we subsidize you? Well, I don't know, sir. Well, I don't know either. So we're going to stop that. Well, we can't handle it. Well, then you should be the 51st state. I love it. I love it. Donald Trump is bringing back America first. We're not going to be taken advantage of by our enemies, and we're not going to be taken advantage of by our friends. And you know what? The ripple effect is already being felt. Trudeau has already resigned as prime minister because of these threats from Donald Trump. And he took his grievance to CNN yesterday, the worldwide leader in news, right? And he had some things to say to Donald Trump. He sent a message. He had something to say about Canada becoming the 51st state. This is Justin Trudeau on CNN yesterday with Jake Tapper.
President-elect Trump has been needling you a bit, calling you Governor Trudeau, talking about making Canada the 51st state. Did you have any interaction with him today?
No, not today. But that's not going to happen. Canadians are incredibly proud of being Canadian. One of the ways we define ourselves most easily is, well, we're not American. There is such a depth of pride that's not actually an issue. What I think is happening in this is President Trump, who's a very skillful negotiator, is getting people to be somewhat distracted by that conversation, to take away from the conversation around 25% tariffs on oil and gas and electricity and steel and aluminum and lumber and concrete, and everything the American consumers buy from Canada is suddenly going to get a lot more expensive if he moves forward on these tariffs. And that's something that I think we need to be focusing on a little bit more.
Yeah, it'll get more expensive with the tariffs. Get a heck of a lot cheaper if it became a state. I love it. He says it's not going to happen. It's not. Well, it's not going to happen if Trump says it's not going to happen. I mean, let's be honest. And I love how he says, listen, the biggest thing about Canadians is we're not Americans. Like, yeah, we could tell. We could tell. But listen, Trudeau resigned because of these tariff threats. I mean, it was probably the straw that broke the camel's back. Let's be honest. He's been prime minister for almost a decade with nothing of note on his resume. I mean, what has he done for Canada? Well, I mean, I guess he shut down bank accounts of truckers protesting COVID mandates. But what else has he done for Canada? And Trudeau was asked, was Trump's reelection a factor in your decision to resign? And now Trudeau's answer is going to be predictable, but we all understand what the real answer is. This is Trudeau on whether Trump's reelection was a factor in his decision to resign.
Did the re-election of Donald Trump and this more direct confrontation with Canada over this issue play any role at all in your decision to resign as leader of your party and prime minister?
No, on the contrary. What we were able to do during the first presidency of Mr. Trump's was work together in a very challenging situation to come out with a very strong win-win in Canada-U.S. relations with the renegotiation of the USMCA. It is a great deal for both of our countries. We've seen trade grow. We've seen opportunities grow. We've seen wealth grow in both of our countries for workers, for businesses. Working together concretely is something that we've been able to do in the past, and I'm looking forward to continuing to work with him for the next 2 months while I'm still in office.
Didn't they poo-poo the USMCA when it first came around? What am I misremembering that? Didn't they poo-poo that? Wasn't that a bad deal? Wasn't that a bad idea? Wasn't Trump just crazy for doing it? And now Trudeau says it's great. It's great. He says no. Trump's re-election wasn't a factor. We all know exactly what time it is. Trump changed everything. Everything. And you know what? America's going to be better for it. Hey, real quick, there is a snow emergency happening in Middle Tennessee. The governor has declared a state of emergency. We want everybody to be safe out there. And Mason is back in the studio monitoring the situation on the roads. We do understand the majority of the listening audience is not listening or not watching on Super Talk TV from the coziness of their living room. You're out in your car. You're out and about. And we want to make sure that you know what's going on so that way you can stay safe. What are the roads looking like right now, Mason?
They're still pretty covered. Like I said earlier, we're getting a winter storm warning until Saturday tomorrow at 6 a.m. We're expecting about 4 to 8 inches here in Middle Tennessee. With a lot of that coming down, we are seeing a lot of crashes coming in. Just had one come in from 40 westbound near Alexandria, exit 254, and Linwood Road, exit 245, with a crash closing down that road, actually, right there. Also over in Smyrna on 24 eastbound near Sam Ridley Parkway, exit 66, got stuck trucks there with the off-ramp blocked that is causing some blockage. And a crash with the right lane blocked on 24 eastbound near Almaville Road, exit 70. So if you can stay home, please stay home. If you need to drive out in the roads, please only take the safest roads, the major roads, as slow as possible because they're probably going to be the most clear.
Yeah, I mean, listen, take your time. You'd rather get there late than not get there at all.
Exactly.
And nobody wants to get into an accident today and be forced to take the Boot Leather Express home. Like, you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
That's not going to be fun. And the tow trucks are going to be working overtime. If you are a tow truck driver and you're listening, listen, we salute you guys. Unsung heroes out there today are the tow truck drivers.
Absolute beasts.
Honestly. And if you're on the roads, just take it slow. pump those brakes, give them a little tappy, tap, tap, taparoo. Don't do anything sudden. You don't want to jerk the wheel. You don't want to slam on the gas. You don't want to slam on the brakes. You want to take it slow. It's okay. She can come here. My little one is in the background. Did you have fun outside in the snow? Oh, yeah, everybody's having a blast. It is a snow day here in Middle Tennessee, and after we break off the air, I'm going over to MTSU. I'm hitting the sledding hill off of Rutherford Boulevard. That is the best sledding hill. So right around 12-ish. If you're free today, that's where I'm going to be after the show. But that's the only place I'm going to drive, and I'm going to take it slow. If it takes me 20 minutes to get there, that's fine. That's fine. Justin Trudeau, very, very upset about Donald J. Trump. Very upset. I mean, the man had to lose his job over this. And Trudeau went on CNN to bemoan and complain and whine. He was in town for Jimmy Carter's funeral. And so, he took to CNN. He took to Jake Tapper. And Jake Tapper asked him, do you have advice for your successor when it comes to Trump?
To go before you go, I know you're not going to say who you want to succeed you, but whether it's Wayne Gretzky or Christina Friedland, what's your number one piece of advice for your successor when it comes to President Trump?
Hold on, can you pause that real quick? He said whoever your successor is, whether it's Wayne Gretzky. I love that even Jake Tapper is getting in on the troll. It's hilarious. All right, keep going. Sorry.
What's your number one piece of advice for your successor when it comes to President Trump?
Understand that the win-win is what we need. Making sure that everyone understands that we do better when we work together, that yes, the American president has a capacity to hurt the Canadian economy. There's no question about that. But anything an American president does to hurt the Canadian economy will also hurt American consumers, American workers, and American growth. We do better when we work together to take on the world, whether it's China or Russia or anywhere else. When we work together, we can't be stopped. And that's the focus that we need to have. And that's certainly what I've continued to work on with President Trump.
Yeah, I love it. Said, when we work together, it's like, yeah, but you see, the thing is that you've been taking advantage of us. And that's what's going to change. We're not going to be taken advantage of anymore, either by our enemies or by our friends. We got 10 days left until Daddy's home. And spoiler alert, he's pissed. To channel my inner Tucker Carlson. When we get back, Donald Trump had some comments about the unconditional discharge that was levied down by Judge Merchan. We'll play you that comment when we return. It's 9:51 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I started work in the early 60s, and Tennessee had a deer stalking program already in place going, primarily from Clarksville Base within the Fort Campbell area. From that area, a lot of deer were stalked in Middle and West Tennessee, and then later on, we started taking deer from those areas and stalking other areas. So it was a progression. It moved pretty fast. The deer sometimes were faster than the stalkers were.
I bet that was pretty exciting trying to trap those deer and move them and know that you're making a huge impact.
Well, we wasn't all that confident.
Oh, really?
Because a lot of the counties had dog problems. They'd be wanting to dog the deer, and it didn't hold up under that kind of pressure. And we had to go back in and restock. And there was a lot of different types of law enforcement work that had to be done.
I hear you.
And the officers did a good job. And we talked to a lot of the judges, and they clamped down pretty hard on somebody poaching deer out there. Back then, we only put out 15 or 20 deer. It was critical. In fact, at that time, it could cost you your truck.
Yeah. It's an amazing success story. You hear folks saying, well, we didn't see a deer when I was a kid, and now you just have to walk out your back door and you got in a subdivision grazing or driving down the interstate highways or whatever, you see a deer just about every day.
Yeah, sometimes I wonder if we're too efficient.
Some folks say back in the good old days, but I don't know. Right now, hunting and fishing is really good.
We will take a look at the roads and the airport as our snow event continues. Also, a drone incident grounds planes that were trying to help the firefighting effort in Southern California. Those stories coming up at 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan Jones. 9:57 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. They're calling it a historic sentence. Donald J. Trump got an unconditional discharge for his 34 felony convictions. Donald Trump has something to say about that. He's reacting live to that unconditional discharge. And I guess to put it lightly, not impressed. Not impressed at all. Mason, play the clip.
Another pathetic, un-American witch hunt. After spending tens of millions of dollars, wasting over 6 years of obsessive work that should have been spent on protecting New Yorkers from violent, rampant crime that is destroying the city and state, coordinating with the Biden-Harris Department of Injustice and lawless weaponization, and bringing completely baseless, illegal, and fake charges against your 45th and 47th president, me, I was given an unconditional discharge. That result alone proves that, as all legal scholars and experts have said, there is no case, there was never a case, and this whole scam fully deserves to be dismissed. The real jury, the American people, have spoken by re-electing me with an overwhelming mandate in one of the most consequential elections in history, as the American people have seen this, quote, case, close quote, had no crime, no damages, no proof, no facts, no law, only a highly conflicted judge, a star witness who is disbarred, disgraced, serial perjurer, and criminal election interference. Today's event was a despicable charade, and now that it is over, we will appeal this hoax, which has no merit, and restore the trust of Americans in our once great system of justice. Make America great again. So that is a statement from the incoming president on what happened today.
Yes, literally Hitler. I thought he was going to go to jail. I thought the walls were closing in. I thought this time they got him. But they didn't. They didn't. Literally Hitler also had a very, very good time yesterday at Jimmy Carter's funeral. He got pretty chummy with one Barack Hussein Obama. I couldn't believe that Barack was sitting next to literally Hitler laughing. Who knew literally Hitler was very, very funny? Who knew Barack Obama was a fan of jokes from dictators and fascists? Donald Trump had something to say about his conversation with Obama at Carter's funeral. We'll play that when we get back. Plus, I'll tell you what the lip readers are saying Obama and Trump talked about at the funeral when we return right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, 10 o'clock now. I'm Joan Jones with the top stories. The Nashville Department of Transportation saying it has been ready for this snowstorm. It wrapped up pre-treatment of the roads yesterday, and it says today crews are out there. They're working 12-hour shifts to salt and plow until the snow is cleared off the roads. TDOT recommends that you stay home if you can, but if you would like to check out road conditions before you do head out, just Google these words, Smartway, Tennessee, traffic. You'll see a link for the road cameras all around the region. Well, over at B&A, the food vendors are open. TSA officers are standing by x-ray machines, but there are very few passengers because there have been hundreds of cancellations and delayed flights as the snow covers all of Middle Tennessee. Well, just this morning, the judge in President Trump's hush money trial in New York sentenced the incoming president to what he calls unconditional discharge, meaning he won't go to prison and no fines, no probation. Judge Juan Merchan saying that he chose that option out of, in his words, respect for the principle of presidential immunity. Now, President Trump addressed the court. He said this has been a very terrible experience, telling the court that he thinks it's been a tremendous setback for New York and the New York court system. Well, the Los Angeles fire officials now reporting 10 deaths and the destruction of 10,000 structures. Also, the fires there continue to burn, some of them uncontained. And to make matters worse, CNN reports a Canadian Super Scooper. That's an aircraft that's helpful in the effort to fight the Palisades fire. It's been grounded after hitting a drone that was flying in unrestricted airspace over the blaze. The planes can scoop up more than 1,500 gallons of ocean water and drop them on active fires. Well, this Super Scooper suffered wing damage, but there were no injuries, thankfully. The collision caused the temporary grounding of all aircraft responding to the Palisades fire. We're getting word that NATO has taken control of air defenses in Poland from the U.S. just days before the inauguration of President-elect Trump. CNN reporting the move is part of a broader effort that has been in the works for months to shift the burden of helping Ukraine from the U.S. to European countries amid questions over whether U.S. support will continue under the Trump administration. Donald Trump has said he wants to end that war. That is the latest news. We've got weather coming up. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. We are live in my living room. Yeah, it's a snow day here on WTN, so I'm broadcasting live from wonderful, incomparable Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And shout out to my neighbor Judy. She sent my wife a text. She said, "Hey, if the kids need a break, they can come on over here for a snack. I know Chris is doing the show live, so thank you, Miss Judy. Appreciate it. We got a big day planned. We're gonna be sledding at the MTSU Hill off Rutherford Boulevard right around noon. So if you got time, you got kids, meet me out there. We're gonna do it tomorrow too, like right around 10:30 in the morning. We'll be out there. We'll be sledding hard. It's the best hill in the city. So very excited about that. Also, we're gonna make some fluffernutters. Have you ever had a fluffernutter, Mason?
I have not. No.
Oh man, you're missing out. You get some fluff. You get some peanut butter, or in some cases, if we get crazy, Nutella.
That's what I've heard. I've heard it's a wild combination there.
And then you grill that thing up like a grilled cheese.
Ooh, I haven't heard of that. I've heard it like you put the bread in the toaster, then make it.
No, do it like a grilled cheese. And
that's a game changer.
You could put bananas on it if you're feeling froggy, and then we'll have some hot chocolate. But that's a Chris Hand every snow day lunch. We do it all every snow day in the Hand family.
Delicious and nutritious.
It's a classic. It's a classic. Speaking of classics, that Jimmy Carter funeral yesterday, man, there was quite a few moments where people were like, oh, that's a bit interesting. And there's a lot of material that can be taken from the Jimmy Carter funeral. For instance, there was quite a handshake between Mike Pence and Donald Trump, which I was pretty surprised about. I'm not going to lie to you. I was pretty surprised. But the big takeaway that a lot of people are pointing to is Barack Obama and Donald Trump getting extra chummy, if you will. They were really enjoying one another's company. And Donald Trump was asked about this during his press conference with the Republican governors that happened last night at Mar-a-Lago. He had every Republican governor was descended on Mar-a-Lago last night, and he was asked a myriad of questions. But one of them was about his interaction with Barack Obama at Jimmy Carter's funeral. If you can play that clip for me, Mason, that would be solid.
Sorry, I'm finding it right now for you. Hold on one second.
No, you're good. You're good. If you're looking at the show sheet, it's the one that I have highlighted. I know. Hey, it's a snow day, so we got these things. But the gist of it is that they're laughing, they're sitting there, they're really enjoying each other's company. And I thought that Donald Trump was literally Hitler. Didn't you hear that Donald Trump was literally Hitler, like he was a fascist dictator? Now that's what I was told. That's what I was told. But I was quite surprised that Barack Hussein Obama himself was totally fine with joking with literally Hitler and a fascist dictator. And at this press conference with the Republican governors, he said, Trump was asked about it. He said, well, yeah, it did look very friendly, didn't it? It did look very friendly. And yeah, it looked quite chummy between the two. Play that clip for me.
Carter funeral today. What were you talking to Barack Obama about?
It did look very friendly, I must say.
I thought you guys hated each other.
I didn't realize how friendly it looked. I saw it on your wonderful network just a little while ago before I came in, and I said, boy, they look like two people that like each other. And we probably do. We have little different philosophies, right? But we probably do. I don't know, we just got along. But I got along with just about everybody on that. We met backstage, as you know, before we went on. And I thought it was a beautiful service, but we all got along very well.
Carter funeral today.
Yeah, we all got along very well.
What were you talking to Barack Obama about?
It did look very friendly, I must say.
I thought you guys hated each other.
I didn't realize how friendly it looked. I saw it on your wonderful network just a little while ago before I came in, and I said, boy, they look like two people that like each other.
Yeah, they look like two people that like each other. There's so much that you could cover from that funeral. Trump shaking hands with Mike Pence was weird. Obama didn't shake Trump or Melania's hand, shook everybody else's hand. The George Bush walked right past Trump. Right past him. It's like, oh, what a petty loser. But then he slapped Obama in the stomach and shook hands with everybody else. Obama and Mr. Trump had a lot of laughs together, and the Clintons ignored Bush, Obama, and Trump. Michelle Obama, surprisingly absent from the funeral. Turns out she skipped Jimmy Carter's funeral to go to Hawaii. Now, there are rumors that this wasn't a scheduling issue. The rumors are that Barack and Michelle are on the outs. I mean, that's what the rumors mill's saying. I don't know. I don't know these people. Maybe Larry Sinclair is back on the scene, but I don't know. This is just the conversation online. She skipped the funeral to go to Hawaii. But lip readers have been weighing in. They are so zoned in on the conversation between Donald Trump and Barack Obama. So the New York Post put out an article where they had a very, very renowned lip reader decipher what was being said between these two. That's what the conversation was online. Everybody wants to know what Barack Obama and Donald Trump were talking about. Now, at one point, as they sat shoulder to shoulder, a lip reader says that Obama and Trump, they said that they would find a quiet place later in the day to discuss a matter of importance. Now, this is according to forensic lip reader Jeremy Freeman. They would find a quiet place to discuss a matter of importance. That's interesting. The New York Post says it's unclear precisely what that conversation would entail, but Freeman's translation indicated that Obama and Trump may have been discussing international agreements. At one point, Trump leaned toward Obama and said, "I've pulled out of that. It's the conditions." Can you imagine that? Now, people are obviously wondering what he's talking about, and they're pointing to a number of things. Maybe he's discussing Obama's 2015 Iran nuclear deal. Maybe he's discussing the 2016 Paris Climate Agreement. It's unclear if that's what they were talking about, but, everybody's speculating. The speculation is really, really high. And then when Obama laughed, Trump added, "And after I will," but then the TV camera cut the feed away from those guys and went to somebody else. But there's one point in the conversation where the lip reader says, Trump replied to Obama, "Call me after the foy, after." Yep. And Obama said, "Can you just, it should be good." And they say, Trump said, I can't talk. We have to find a quiet place sometime. This is a matter of importance, and we need to do this outside so that we can deal with it, certainly today. The lip reader also interpreted Obama as saying, "Listen to me. It's a chore. It's a chore." They don't have any context what he was referencing, but this is what people are doing. Trump replying, "Yeah, right. I can't think of anything that's a chore." Spokespeople for Trump and Obama, they're not responding to the Post's request for comments, but the speculation online is everywhere. How could these two be getting along so well when Obama looks at Trump as a fascist dictator, literally Hitler? And how is Trump getting along with Obama when President Obama ordered the feds to spy on his campaign over alleged ties to Russia? It doesn't make any sense. It does bring up some questions. And I'm sure people are going to be talking about this for a very, very long time, this interaction between the two. We'll see what comes of it. Real quick, it's 10:15 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. There is a state of emergency declared in Middle Tennessee. Snow everywhere on the roads. Mason is monitoring all of the roadways for you because we understand the majority of our listening audience, you're not watching on Super Talk TV. You're not in the coziness of your living room. You are out on the roads, and we want you to stay as safe as possible. Mason, what is the latest on the roads right now?
Still a lot of snow coming down right now. That snow's lasting until tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. We are expecting up to 4 to 8 inches now instead of that original 3 to 5.
Let's go. I'm really wanting 8 inches. Let's go.
Adding to that sledding speed for sure. Got a closure due to a crash over on 40 westbound between Alexandria at 254 and Linwood Road, exit 245, due to a truck that crashed over there, reported by TDOT. Got a lot of crashes here on the smaller back roads here in Nashville itself, but a lot of those bigger ones that were on the interstates have kind of cleared up because those roads are going to be your main form of coming into town because they're going to be the most clear from traffic here. But please, please, please drive as slow as possible because you want to get here safe. not sorry for sure.
Yeah, no, listen, that's good news that those actions have already been cleared on the highway. It shows that we're out in full force. Shout out to the tow truck drivers. Shout out to TDOT out there salting and sanding and doing
unsung
all
heroes for sure.
My gosh, man. What would we do without these guys? They are the unsung heroes. You nailed it. I don't even, nothing else to say. Unsung heroes. We respect and salute all those guys. And if you're listening to us on Super Talk, we just want to know, we want you to know we appreciate you. So thank you so much. It does seem like the snow has kind of slowed down a little bit here in Murfreesboro as I look out the window, but I do understand that the majority of the snow is going to really pick up here soon.
Yeah, it's still coming down pretty hard here down in Nashville.
Is it? Yeah, I mean, man, I'm like, keep snowing. Let's go. We want heavy snow. If we're going to get snow, let's get a lot, right? Let's not fake it.
Yeah, we don't go small here in Nashville. It's either lots of snow or lots of ice. So
honestly,
yeah,
honestly. All right, so we were talking about Jimmy Carter's funeral. Lip readers weighing in on the convo between Trump and Obama. I would say that lip readers would weigh in on the conversation between Kamala and Jill, but they barely acknowledged each other at Jimmy Carter's funeral. There was no conversation between the two. Kamala Harris, she just seems so upset, and I understand why. She's bitter. I understand why Joe Biden is mad at Kamala Harris. Listen, they'll say it was Joe's decision, but we know what happened. It was a coup. It was an absolute coup. And the outgoing First Lady, Jill Biden, well, she barely acknowledged Kamala Harris at all at the funeral. At all. I will say this. Harris briefly held Jill Biden's pocketbook for her as she got situated. But after the VP passed it back, they just stared forward. No eye contact. President Biden was on the other side of Jill. He also stared blankly into the distance, though we can't be sure if that was because he was mad at Kamala Harris or that was just classic Joe, because at one point his mouth was hanging open. At one point, it looked like he was falling asleep. Classic Joe. And Jill appeared on a couple occasions to scooch away from Harris toward her husband. Now, this is not the first time that Jill Biden and Kamala Harris have appeared to have a bit of an icy relationship in the public eye. Everybody remembers the cold shoulder that was given during their visit to Arlington National Cemetery on Veterans Day. That's been well documented. You understand why these two are on the outs.
I mean, it's definitely weird to see your president and vice president fighting. I mean, wait, sorry. Oh, not Joe. My bad. Never mind.
Nailed it. Dude, that was so subtle. Even myself, I was like, "What? Where's he going with this?" I was like, "Oh, Dr. Jill's running the country."
Yeah.
Nailed it. At another point during the funeral, when Obama and Trump were like laughing and having a good chat, talking with each other, Harris lets out this deep sigh and turns back, sees them, lets out a deep sigh, and effectively rolled her eyes.
Sound like that? Right?
That was my reaction as well. Oh.
The only time we'll laugh with Kamala, for sure.
There was so much material from that funeral. And if you're paying attention online, you're watching it as well. Karen Pence also, Trump shook Mike Pence's hand, but Karen Pence completely ignored Trump. He's a threat to democracy and everything, right? He's a threat to democracy. We can't talk to him. We got a lot more to cover on the way. It's a state of emergency in Middle Tennessee. We're going to be checking your roads momentarily, and we'll be covering everything for you as best we can, keeping you up to date on the latest. Mason is following the roads. If you're out there and you have updates, you have questions, we're monitoring the text line. We are happy to assist you wherever you need assistance, okay? That's Millie Jane, my youngest, with me here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Listen, if your heat is not working, well, you are feeling it today. And you don't want to be feeling that. You don't need that in your life. What you need in your life is my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. If your heat's not working, call them today, and they got a lot of deals for you. New year, new comfort, and winter warm-up specials from your Rude Pro partner, Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. And when it comes to HVAC, you can't beat these deals free air duct cleaning with a purchase of a new complete whole home AC, free air duct cleaning package upgrades. You buy that middle package, you're upgraded to the deluxe package for free. Right now, maybe you need that furnace checkup. Well, you can get a free furnace checkup with any heating repair service, 15% off indoor air quality products, and how about this? A complimentary smart thermostat with any HVAC replacement. These are the deals you get from Busy Bee, your Rude Pro partner. When you need satisfaction guaranteed, you call Busy Bee. 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, online at busybeehvac.com.
An airplane has just been evacuated at the Atlanta airport. We'll tell you what's happening there this morning. Also, a report that just came out this morning has sent stocks tumbling. You probably don't want to look at your 401k today. Those stories coming up at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Joan Jones piling on good news like snow outside Middle Tennessee.
Doing my best.
Oh, my gosh. Is it just me or does anybody else's heart stop a little bit when you see her plane evacuated in Atlanta? I mean, we're 10 days in to 2025. We've had terror attacks. We've had bombings in Las Vegas. We've had these wildfires. It's like, do we really need anything else? DJT minus 10 days till Donald Trump gets back into office. And right now, we do need some real leadership. We got the wildfires in California, and it's been absolutely crazy. Biden said the federal government's going to cover 100% of the initial disaster response to the Los Angeles wildfires for 180 days. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, I wonder why the people of North Carolina didn't get this kind of treatment. But this is Joe Biden announcing yesterday that the federal government is going to cover 100% of the costs for 180 days for things like debris and hazard removal and shelters and salaries. And I wonder, where was this energy in North Carolina?
And this morning, due to the magnitude of the disaster, I was talking with the governor, and he requested if I could increase the federal funding that was authorized under this legislation from 75% to 90%. We're increasing it to 100% of all the costs to be covered by the federal government for both the fire management assistance grants and the elements of what they call the disaster declaration. So today I'm announcing that the federal government will cover 100% of the cost for 180 days. This is going to pay for things like debris and hazard material removal, temporary shelters, first responders' salaries, and all necessary measures to protect life and property. And folks, I want to underscore, I told the governor and local officials, spare no expense to do what they need to do and contain these fires and in their communities that have really been devastating.
Spare no expense. Now listen, do I think that Americans affected by the wildfires need help? Absolutely. Am I mad at the federal government for helping them? No. But I want to put this in context. Joe Biden is paying 100% of California fire recovery for 180 days. 100%. And in Western North Carolina, families there just now got a measly 24-hour extension of their hotel stay so FEMA doesn't kick 3,000 of them out into the ice and snow. Honestly, let's just wrap our heads around that. Where was this energy when North Carolina was destroyed? Where? North Carolina is still in bad shape. I'm not mad at the people of California getting help. I'm not. And, listen, I just think maybe there's some favoritism being played here because California is a bastion of liberal principles, liberal voters, liberal ideology. Am I the only one in thinking that? Am I reading too much into this? But I see a tweet from FEMA Region 4. North Carolina, due to the incoming winter storm, we are extending our transitional sheltering program stays for 24 hours to those households who are still scheduled to check out of their hotels, motels January 11th. If you still need assistance with housing, call 1-800-621-3362. That's FEMA's message to the people of North Carolina. That's the federal government's message to the people of North Carolina. You got 24 more hours, then you're back on your own. Meanwhile, Biden is promising 6 months of full funding for anything that Californians need. Again, I'm not mad at the people of California, and I want them to get the help they need. It's absolutely devastating what's happening there. But do we not understand that people in North Carolina are still dealing with the effects from Hurricane Helene? It's crazy. We're going to talk a lot more about this when we get back. Plus, we'll keep our eyes on the roads for you. State of emergency declared in Middle Tennessee for the snow. I'm broadcasting live from the living room. Thanks to our friends at Better Water LLC. This is the Chris Hand Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
10:30 now, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. With the snow now covering the mid-state, Channel 4's Stefano DiPietro tells us that the next phase of this snowstorm is an increase in intensity, dropping lots of snow very quickly. He also tells us there's a chance that later on today there'll be some sleet that mixes in with our snow in the southernmost parts of the region, and that may affect snow totals there. Well, yeah, that Delta jet, it had more than 200 people on board. It was evacuated on the tarmac at the Atlanta airport just this morning. Engine issues led the pilots to abort a takeoff. Online photos showed the slides had been deployed and people slid down them. They were walking away from the Boeing 757 on the tarmac. Scary moments for sure. A Wisconsin woman who at the age of 12 stabbed her sixth grade classmate nearly to death to please online horror character Slender Man will be released from a psychiatric hospital, according to a judge's order. That judge said that Morgan Geyser, who has spent just 6 years of her 40-year sentence in the hospital, finding that she's been faithful to take her medication, and he deemed her no longer a threat to society. Geyser is now 22 years old. And U.S. hiring saw robust growth in December with new data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics showing employers added 256,000 workers last month, and that's far more than economists were expecting. The unemployment rate ticked down to 4.1%. It's good news for the jobs market, but bad news for stocks. Economists believe that this report will put the brakes on any more interest rate cuts from the Fed. Stock futures spiraled after that report, and right now stocks are trading lower. The Dow Jones Industrials down 672 points, NASDAQ minus 387, and we've got the S&P 500 index down a full 100 points. That's the latest news. Weather is just ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. It is 10:32 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. If you're like me and you're going to be home all weekend long, it's a great time to start thinking about your financial future. And I recommend you look into my friends Paul Winkler and Paul Winkler Inc. You probably know Paul. He hosts the Investor Coaching Show every Saturday on WTN. But he started that show after he spent time studying under an economist who went on to win a Nobel Prize. That's pretty cool. And he's an avid collector of financial planning designations. He has up to 8 now. So my wife and I, we work with Paul. We heard him on the radio before I got my show here. And when I met him, he's the same guy. I trust him. And he can break things down for you in a way that you can understand. He's done that for me. He's done that for my wife. And we are in a much better place financially now than we've ever been. And I give a lot of credit to Paul, helping us with our investments, helping us with our retirement stuff. He can do the exact same thing for you. If you're snowed in this weekend, head over to paulwinkler.com. Start digging in. Start diving into that education. Set up an appointment. Set up a 15-minute phone call. And you're going to really learn a lot. Paul's team focuses on education, so you never get that uneasy feeling of blind trust. And while I do get paid to do these commercials, I don't get paid to be a client. I'm a client because I trust Paul's team. They don't work on commission. They focus on education. Set up a 15-minute phone call right now, paulwinkler.com. That's paulwinkler.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
Due to the magnitude of the disaster, I was talking with the governor, and he requested if I could increase the federal funding that was authorized under this legislation from 75% to 90%. We're increasing it to 100% of all the costs to be covered by the federal government for both the fire management assistance grants and the elements of what they call the disaster declaration. So today I'm announcing that the federal government will cover 100% of the cost for 180 days. This is going to pay for things like debris and hazard material removal, temporary shelters, first responders' salaries, and all necessary measures to protect life and property. And folks, I want to underscore, I told the governor and local officials, spare no expense to do what they need to do and contain these fires and in their communities that have really been devastated.
That's Joe Biden reacting to how the federal government is going to be covering the bill. They're footing the bill for 6 months in California. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. Thank you for being here wherever you're listening. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. If you're on the roads, we got an update coming for you. In about 7 minutes, we'll update you on the roads. Stay safe out there. Pump the brakes. Don't slam them. Don't jerk the wheel. Don't slam the gas. Stay as smooth as you can, slow as you can. State of emergency declared in Middle Tennessee because of the snow. I'm broadcasting live from the living room in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And I got to be honest, when I hear Joe Biden saying that he's footing the bill for California for 6 months, I'm like, good, those people need help. Part of me says good. Like, yes, we do need to help our fellow citizens when disaster strikes. And I feel a little guilty doing this, but the other part of me is a little bit pissed off because he's going to foot the bill for 6 months in California for debris and hazard removal, temporary shelters, and first responder salaries. And meanwhile, in Western North Carolina, families there got a 24-hour extension of their hotel stay so FEMA doesn't kick them out into the ice and snow. In California, I just to again say it very, very clearly, debris and hazard removal, temporary shelters, good for 6 months. Where was that energy for Western North Carolina? Where? I mean, let's be honest. Is Joe Biden just taking care of his liberal voters and liberal donors? Maybe. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. But 6 months, the federal government's going to foot the bill in California. Right now, and this is early, but it's $57 billion in losses predicted in California. Biden's got the tab. I listen, $57 billion, I think that's criminally underestimated, by the way. I think that's just going to grow and grow and grow and balloon. The cost of Hurricane Helene damage currently at $225 billion predicted. And I'm not sure if this is a fair comparison, disaster, because I can understand Helene costing more because so much more was left behind. You know, the fires are actually removing a lot of that debris on their own. But I'm sure the people who have lost everything in North Carolina, they're hearing Biden's promise to foot the bill. And I don't know about you, but I would imagine they feel a bit overlooked as the snowstorm we're facing in Middle Tennessee is eyeing them next. So, yeah, a bit overlooked, to say the very least. And again, this is not to say the residents of California don't deserve help as much as any American citizen after a disaster. But let's be real. It kind of feels like California is getting special treatment because of their radical leftist politics, right? Is it just me? 615-737-9986. Do you feel the same way? In Western North Carolina, you get a 24-hour extension of a hotel. In California, you get 6 months of temporary shelters, and the federal government's going to foot the bill. It just rubs me the wrong way. It really does. Biden also put the onus of the responsibility for the Los Angeles wildfires on climate change. It's climate change. He called it global warming, which is like, bro, keep up. We don't call it global warming anymore. But, you know, hey, he's an old guy with memory issues. What can you do? But he says, you know, global warming, we got to have the capacity to respond to it. But the citizens of California are irate, as the citizens of Western North Carolina are irate. And they're irate at leadership. They're irate at the federal government. There was one desperate mother who saw Gavin Newsom in the streets and chased him down to ask him about the lack of water in the fire hydrants. And I feel like a lot of Californians feel the exact same way this woman feels and wish that they had the opportunity to call this guy out to his face like she does here. Mason, play the clip.
Governor, you got a second? Governor, I live here, Governor. That was my daughter's school, Governor. Please tell me what you're going to do. I'm not going to hurt him, I promise.
I'm literally talking to the president right now to specifically answer the question of what we can do for you and your daughter.
Can I hear it? Can I hear your call? Because I don't believe it.
I'm sorry. There's literally, I've tried 5 times. That's why I'm walking around to make the
Why
call.
is the president not taking your call?
Because it's not going through. So
Why?
I have to get cell service.
So
There's
let's
no
get
cell
it.
service.
Let's get it. I want to be here when you call the president.
I appreciate it. I'm doing that right now. And it's to immediately get reimbursements, individual assistance, and to help you. I'm devastated for you. I'm so sorry, especially for your daughter. I have 4 kids. Losing the school.
Everyone who went to school there, they lost their homes. They lost 2 homes because they were living in one and building another. Governor, please tell me, what are you going to do with the president right now?
We're getting the resources to help rebuild.
Why was there no water in the hydrants, Governor?
That's all literally.
Is it going to be different next time?
It has to be. Has to be. Of course.
What are you going to do?
I'm doing
To
everything
fill the
I can.
hydrants. I would fill them up personally, you know that.
I literally have.
I would fill up the hydrants myself.
I understand.
But would you do that?
I would do whatever I can.
But you're not. I see do you know there's water dripping over there, Governor? There's water coming out there. You can use it.
I appreciate it. I'm going to make the call to address everything I can right now, incling making sure people
I'd
are
like
safe.
to make sure you do. Can I have an opportunity to at least tell people you're doing what you're saying you're doing? Could somebody have a contact? Can I have your contact information?
Right there.
Yeah, and then Gavin Newsom gets into his SUV and he drives away from the scene. I love that this woman called her out, and I'm sure a majority of Californians are actually having a red pill moment just like this mom had. Let's be honest. If you're a betting man, that woman voted for Kamala Harris. That woman voted for Gavin Newsom. That woman voted for Karen Bass. Elections have consequences. And you know what? A lot of people are waking up to those consequences in California right now. You have all this money for everything, right? You don't have any money to sweep the forest floors, and we don't have water in our fire hydrants. And, don't even get me started again on Western North Carolina. Those people must be downright pissed because Gavin Newsom says, well, I'm trying to talk to the president right now. I'm going to see what he's going to do. And, well, what he's going to do is he's going to foot the bill for 6 months. 6 months. Western North Carolina, you get a 24-hour extension at the hotel because a snowstorm is coming. After that, you're on your own. Texas Governor Greg Abbott was on Fox News last night, and he blasted Joe Biden for prioritizing just about everything else over American citizens. It's always America last with these Democrats. They have money for Ukraine. They have money for the Taliban. They have money for illegal aliens. They don't have any money for the people of Western North Carolina. Apparently, liberal voters in California, they'll have plenty of money for. But Texas Governor Greg Abbott blasted Joe Biden for prioritizing Ukraine over American disaster victims.
He always tries to inject himself into the disaster that somebody else is dealing with and to raise his great-grandchildren at a time when you see these homes burning down and lives being lost is just outrageous. What is needed is exactly what President Trump delivers. What is needed is for Joe Biden to stop giving money to the Ukraine and start providing it to North Carolina and, in this case, California, and helping out our fellow Americans and securing our border instead of sacrificing America just for the well-being of some other countries across the globe.
You know what actually is might actually really make you angry? Do you know what California did in 2022? Well, you see, what they did was they donated surplus firefighting equipment to Ukraine. Yeah, you see, California had a surplus of firefighting equipment, and they sent it to Ukraine. Don't you think there are citizens in California right now that would enjoy that firefighting equipment to try and help stop what's happening there? It's unreal. And Joe Biden put the onus on climate change. He blamed global warming. Well, at least one of those fires, that's been debunked instantly. Now, I'll tell you about that right after we kind of look at the roads here on Super Talk. Mason, what's the latest on the roads? We got a state of emergency in Middle Tennessee. Snow is falling. Are we in good shape, or is it getting significantly worse?
A lot of those big crashes that were on the main roads are clearing up, but we still have just in. We have a crash of the right lane blocked on 40 westbound past Alexandria, exit 254. I think it's that one from earlier that they were spending some time clearing out. Looks like some other people have accidentally slid into that accident there, and it's caused a little bit of a jumble out there. Over in Antioch, we had a crash on Richards Road at Una Antioch Pike. That's causing some backup. And back on 40 eastbound near Stewart's Ferry Pike, exit 219. Still got that right lane blocked from that previous crash, but it's looking to be a little more clear. We got snow coming down until Saturday tomorrow at 6 a.m. We're expecting that 4 to 8 inches now instead of the 3 to 5 that we were initially expecting. Snow is starting to come down a little less hard over here in Nashville, but still pretty consistent out here.
Yeah, we got a little bit of a break, it seems like, here in Murfreesboro. It's not falling as much as it was earlier, but it is expected to pick up. We'll be keeping you updated on the roads, on the weather conditions all day here today on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. If you got any tips, any questions, the phone lines are open. The text line is open, 615-737-9986. We're talking about the wildfires in California. Joe Biden put the onus on climate change. Hey, spoiler alert, one of the 4 fires, officials suspect arson. And you know what? They actually have a suspect detained. This is the Kenneth fire that police have been investigating near in Woodland Hills, which is near the south side of San Fernando Valley. And guess what? They're looking at it as arson, and they've even detained a suspect. Citizens detained a suspect. Mason, play the clip from Los Angeles police.
What we know right now is that the incident started here, and about 30 minutes later, a suspect was detained over in Woodland Hills area by citizens.
So someone purposely set the Kenneth fire?
At this time, that's what we believe, yes.
Do you know how or why they did that?
That I don't know.
Is this a crime scene right now?
Yes.
So everything's closed off?
It's being investigated as a crime.
Wow. Climate change strikes again, this time in the form of an arsonist. Yes, police have an arsonist detained in the Kenneth fire, which is the 3rd biggest fire in California currently. Over 960 acres burned plus growing. And Joe Biden puts the onus on climate change. Now, if you listen to the Los Angeles police there, they say citizens detain this guy. And there's a video circulating on X of citizens in California detaining a man with a flamethrower. I kid you not. I'm going to retweet the video if you want to see it at Chris Hand on air. Citizens detaining a man with a flamethrower. It's climate change, says Joe Biden. It's global warming. Let's be real. Arson is not climate change. It's not. And you know what? At 960 plus acres, the 3rd biggest fire in California currently, this is actually a massive, massive arson. It's gonna end up in the top 15 of biggest arsons of all time. Now, there's some discrepancy in the list. The largest arson of all time, wildfire arson, was in 2002 in Arizona. That was 467,000 acres, 426 structures. The second biggest was the Old Fire in San Bernardino, California. 91,000 acres, 933 structures, 6 fatalities. So as of right now, this fire looks like it's moving into the top 15. It's nowhere near the top, and we pray that it doesn't happen. But when the federal government is telling us this is climate change, and they ignore the fact that there is a suspected arson in police custody, it's like, miss me with the BS. It's crazy. We got a lot more on the wildfires that we'll cover when we return. It is 10:51 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right. Crashes out there. Antioch, we've got that 24 westbound blocked to clear a pickup out of the road at Harding Place. New Middleton, Tennessee. This is going to be about 50 miles east of Nashville. 40 westbound is a parking lot because the right lane is blocked by a crash. Looks like a driver struck a TDOT salt truck, so that's going to take some time to clear up there. The snow continues to fall. It's supposed to all day. President-elect Trump won't do time, but he does have a record. These stories and more coming up at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is 10:57 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Joe Biden putting the blame for the wildfires in California on climate change. Well, Los Angeles police say that the Kenneth fire, they now have climate change in custody, apparently. Apparently, climate change was detained by citizens. Listen to this clip.
What we know right now is that the incident occurred, started here, and about 20 minutes, 30 minutes later, a suspect was detained over in Woodland Hills area by citizens.
So someone purposely set the Kenneth fire?
At this time, that's what we believe, yes.
Do you know how or why they did that?
That I don't know.
Is this a crime scene right now?
Yes.
So everything's closed off?
It's being investigated as a crime.
Yeah, it's being investigated
what we know
as a
right
crime.
now is that the
It's being investigated as a crime.
Started here, and
that's what they know. If you watch, if you want to see the video of citizens detaining this suspect, it's on my Twitter at Chris Hand on Air. Again, climate change has been arrested in California. Clearly. Colin Rube putting it this way: Los Angeles residents execute a leg hook takedown before making a citizen's arrest after finding a man allegedly trying to start fires. One witness said men used zip ties and rope to detain the arsonist suspect. The incident unfolded when a local was driving by, and he saw the man with a yellow blowtorch. With help from neighbors, they cornered him and made a citizen's arrest. We really banded together as a group. A few gentlemen surrounded him and got him on his knees. They got some zip ties, rope, and we were able to do a citizen's arrest, a witness said. LAPD has not yet released the name of the man or his connection to the fires. This is from Fox in LA, the video. You should check it out on my Twitter account, at Chris Hand on Air. Ladies and gentlemen, climate change has been arrested in California. It's crazy. Joe Biden puts it on climate change. The third biggest fire is being investigated as a crime scene, potential arson, and a suspect in custody. If this is arson, it's going to crack the top 15 of the largest arson wildfires in history. Now, it's nowhere near number one. Number one was 467,000 acres, 426 structures. This is about 960 plus acres right now, the Kenneth Fire in California. This doesn't even crack the top 10. Coming in at number 9, I'm sure Middle Tennesseans remember, was the arson that was the Great Smoky Mountains wildfire in 2016. 17,904 acres, 2,400 structures, 14 fatalities. So even near the top 10, not quite yet. And Lord willing, it doesn't grow. But this is what Joe Biden says, it's got to be climate change. It's not mismanagement by the federal government. It's not lunatics on the ground. It's climate change. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. It's 11 o'clock on Super Talk.
It's 11 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. And the snow continues to fall and the crashes are piling up. Right now, we've got 24 westbound blocked to clear the road from a pickup that has apparently been stuck there at Harding Place. Then about 50 miles east of Nashville, we've had a driver run into a TDOT salt truck. And that has 40 westbound just past Alexandria down to a parking lot. Mostly trucks out there, just bumper to bumper. And then in Hermitage, we've got a crash blocking the right lane. This will be 40 eastbound at Stewart's Ferry Pike. Going to be something we're going to be dealing with throughout the day. NDOT and TDOT out there treating the roads, but as the snow continues to fall, the driving conditions will continue to deteriorate. Well, it's not a good day if you have a flight to catch either. Right now in Atlanta, images are coming in of a Delta flight that apparently had to abort takeoff because of an engine issue, not necessarily because of slick runway, but all of the passengers had to take a slide to get off of the plane. We've got nearly 300 cancellations at Nashville International Airport so far this morning. This includes flights coming into and leaving VNA. It's a good idea to check with your flight before you head to the airport. And if you do go to the airport, use extreme caution. President-elect Trump won't do time, but he does have a record. Just 10 days before he takes office, the judge in the New York hush money case gave Trump an unconditional discharge for falsifying business records at the sentencing in New York this morning. It means Trump won't go to prison, but it's on his record. And, of course, he's going to be labeled by his critics as a convicted felon. The president-elect complaining that this has been a terrible experience. He came in virtually, sitting next to defense attorney Todd Blanche, whom Trump's nominated for a top post in the Justice Department. Calmer winds predicted for Southern California by this evening as thousands of firefighters battle multiple wildfires in the region, but another strong Santa Ana wind event is forecast next week. Meanwhile, authorities have imposed a nighttime curfew in parts of the city impacted by the fire due to looting, and images have been posted of what appear to be citizens catching a man with a flamethrower, starting fires. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
It's 11:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. I am broadcasting from the coziness and comfort of my living room. Modern technology, man. We got a massive snowstorm, state of emergency declared by the governor, And we want everybody to be off the roads if you can avoid it. If you have to be on the roads, pump those brakes. Don't slam them. Don't slam the gas. Don't jerk the wheel. Everything's got to be smooth, slow and steady. Don't try and get around the guy in front of you. Just stay behind him. Stay in those tracks that are already laid out. Take it as easy as you can. If you get home a little bit late, it's better than not getting home at all. Amen? Amen. We'll be updating you on the roads here in about, 7 minutes or so. Mason's keeping an eye out on all the latest. And I am here live with... Yeah, and I got my 2-year-old here with me, too. We're broadcasting from home. You like the snow?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're having a lot of fun here. The big 3 are outside, and the little one, she got a little too cold, so she's in here with me. We got a lot to cover here on the Chris Hand Show today. We've been talking about the fires in California, and that has been absolutely insane. And it seems like the incompetence just piles on top of itself over and over and over again. I mean, we all know what's going on with the fire hydrants. There's no water in the fire hydrants. There's no water in the fire hydrants. Oh, my gosh. My grandfather, I said this yesterday, my grandfather was a firefighter his entire life. From like the time he was 17 until just about the time he passed away. He eventually transitioned from being an active firefighter, the guy that drives the truck, to being a dispatcher when he got older. If my grandfather was here to see this, he would be absolutely losing his mind. There's no water in the fire hydrants. And do you know what LA decided to do last week? Well, last week, the city of Los Angeles reportedly canceled their annual fire hydrant testing. Huh. Do you know why they canceled their fire hydrant testing, Los Angeles Fire Department, in the last few weeks? Why they canceled their fire hydrant testing? Well, they cited fiscal challenges. Fiscal challenges. In consideration of the department's current operational and fiscal challenges, the annual hydrant testing scheduled for the beginning of this year will be temporarily suspended. This decision reflects the need to prioritize safety, resource allocation, and emergency response capabilities. So the mayor of Los Angeles removed $17+ million from the firefighters' budget, and the LAFD and their DEI chief decided that the way to prioritize safety is not test the fire hydrants. How is that working out for the residents of Los Angeles today? Has safety been prioritized? You know, the mayor, Karen Bass, she said, hey, guys, this is the budget that we cut. It's not affecting anything. Really? It was Tuesday, December 24th, that there was an official notice saying that they're canceling fire hydrant testing for prioritizing safety because of their fiscal challenges. But, Karen Bass had enough money to travel to Ghana. And if you're paying attention online, numerous trips to Cuba. Weird. But they tell us this is fine. They tell us don't think about it. Also, let's add this onto the bin of incompetence. Los Angeles gave all of their surplus firefighting equipment to Ukraine in 2022. Yeah, let me say that one more time in case you're not paying attention, in case you're Van Gogh listening. In 2022, Los Angeles gave away surplus firefighting equipment to Ukraine. So we're sending all of our money to Ukraine, and we're sending our firefighting equipment to Ukraine. I mean, are we kidding here? In a city that deals with wildfires, don't you think that there are volunteers and citizens who would step up and put that surplus equipment to good use right now in the city of Los Angeles? I'm not a betting man, but I would wager so. I would wager so. And the list of incompetence keeps growing. Do you know what happened yesterday? They sent out a false emergency alert to the entirety of Los Angeles, telling them they need to evacuate. Everyone got this. In fact, one local Fox affiliate, they're live on the air doing play-by-play on the news, trying to keep their residents safe, and they got that emergency alert live on the air. And even they, listen, these guys are paying attention. They know where the fires are. But even they are obviously a little bit unnerved by this when it comes through. They get a little nervous. They're like, what is going on? We just got this notice to evacuate. Listen to how this unfolded live.
We're just mapping out here are under mandatory evacuations, and obviously you can hear all of our phones are going off some type of alert, an evacuation warning, it looks like.
Yeah, my alert reads, This is an emergency message from the LA County Fire Department. An evacuation warning has been issued in your area.
Yeah.
This is what this looks like.
Remain vigilant of any threats and be ready to evacuate. Gather loved ones, pets, and supplies. Continue to monitor local weather news and the webpage alertla.org for more information.
Yeah, so these alerts come, based on where you are.
It's like on my phone.
Yeah, and here we are in West LA, and we're getting an alert. We'll have to look into why. It would not be from what we're talking about right here up to the north.
So they understood that this was a false alarm relatively quickly, but when it first comes through, you can understand why they're a little bit on edge, why they're a little bit nervous, right? Like you can obviously understand why. Now, these are individuals who are tracking these fires in real time. The rest of the city who got this notice, because it went out to everyone, what do? I mean, does this cause mass panic? Luckily, it didn't, but geez. The list of failures keeps growing. This is another example. The fires have caused over $50 billion in damage so far. Preliminary estimates say that is criminally underrated. Don't worry, though, California. Biden said he's going to foot the bill for the first 6 months. For the first 6 months. Yeah, I'm sure the residents of Western North Carolina who just got a 24-hour extension on their hotel because snow is barreling towards them, the same snow we're dealing with today, feel a lot of comfort in that. Meanwhile, the fires still rage in California, and critical communication infrastructure is on the verge of being incinerated by the Eaton fire in Los Angeles. This is the second largest fire, and this is on top of Mount Wilson, and this is where all of the LA TV and radio stations have their antennas. This is everybody. So this is their local kind of 99.7 WTN, their local ABC, NBC, CBS affiliates. All of the antennas are up on top of this mountain, and now that critical infrastructure is being very much threatened by these wildfires.
What we're seeing here, but you can see already there is some damage. Looks like at the bottom of your screen, those are radio transmitters, those large white sort of a cone-shaped circular devices. I believe those are radio transmitter and receivers. They're very, very powerful. And these are the kinds of things that can transmit and receive radio transmissions over vast distances. And like I said, Mount Wilson is a really strategic and important area because of how high it is and its unobstructed view of vast portions of Southern California. That's exactly where you want a radio transmission and receive site, because you can get that line of sight from just about anywhere in Southern California. But now so much thick black smoke up there, it's unclear how much, if any, of Mount Wilson will be damaged by the Eaton fire.
Yeah, Mark, to Amy's point, this fire, obviously, these fires aren't just having impacts on people and the places they live, but on, places like Mount Wilson that really has a big impact, significant to our communications across our area. And of course, all the more important because, emergency first responders need to be communicating during this time of emergency. So absolutely terrible to see. So we'll certainly be watching how this develops.
Yeah, that's right. So, this is just an indicator that we had talked a little bit before about how LA County Fire had said that they thought that the Eaton fire, they had made some really great progress, that forward progress had really slowed. And it was really good news for the community of Altadena and Sierra Madre that the fire seemed to be moving away from homes, but unfortunately that meant that it moved here towards Mount Wilson. And the terrain to the north of Mount Wilson is basically the same that you see here. It is very steep, heavily vegetative topography. There's lots of thick brush and trees, a lot to burn, which is indicative of a very, very long and intense firefight. It could be several days of seeing fire like this to the north of Altadena. unless they can get long Phos-Chek lines to drop on this fire. But you can see active flames right there, still very close to Mount Wilson. Now, I do see more fire.
Absolutely insane. So they could be losing their radio. They could be losing their TV. And listen, I talk to people all the time. They're like, oh, what about the state of radio? How is it? It's like in these times of emergencies, radio is so important.
It's absolutely massive, yeah.
Yeah, and this is another example. I mean, listen, we're dealing with it today, granted, on a much smaller scale. There are people out there on the roads that are dealing with traffic situations, and we're going to update you on the roads in about 1 minute. But you need this infrastructure in place. One man is going to be trying to do what he can to fix some of that infrastructure if these antennas and satellites and stuff go down on top of Mount Wilson. I'll tell you who's bringing in something to help after we check the roads. Mason, what's the update? What's the latest on the roads out here in Middle Tennessee?
We're still dealing with that major crash that's over on 40 westbound, over near exit 254 off of Alexandria there, with the right lane blocked. And that big crash that Ken was talking about during his newscast near Struts Ferry Pike, exit 219. Got a big pile up there that's causing a lot of slow and go. Mostly the other crashes that are coming in are a little closer in town here. We got one over in near off Lebanon Pike at Dawson Hill Drive. Got a crash there from some sliding around. And then over in Berry Hill, got a crash of the right lane blocked off of 440 eastbound before 65 at exit 5 there.
I mean, this is the time when radio is important, right? When you need this critical information. And during these wildfires, this is also critically important to the people of California. On top of Mount Wilson, they're going to be losing. They could be losing their antennas and satellites, and it's crazy. We deliver a very important service during times of need, and we've really highlighted that on WTN in times of tornadoes and this snowstorm as well. But in this wildfire in California, you need that infrastructure in place. You need it so that way people get the message, and that could be really hard to deliver very, very soon because of these fires. Elon Musk, however, is stepping up to the plate, much like he did in Western North Carolina when they didn't have any communication. Elon is now offering to provide free Starlink terminals to areas affected by Los Angeles wildfires. And God bless him for that. Elon Musk said his SpaceX company will provide free Starlink terminals to Los Angeles areas affected by the wildfires. The satellite internet service will help restore communication in areas devastated by these ongoing fires. He posted this on X yesterday, saying Starlink will provide free Starlink terminals to the affected areas in LA tomorrow morning. So those should be getting there as we speak and being installed and being set up and put into good use. Because, I mean, a lot of these TV stations and crews out there are using Starlink to broadcast their live fire coverage already. And if they lose these antennas and they lose these satellites, they're going to be even more dependent on that internet. And God bless Elon Musk for stepping up to the plate. Musk was replying to an X post by Sawyer Merritt, who really laid out the fact that TV crews are using Starlink right now to broadcast their live fire coverage. He said, the only reason you're able to see us right now is because of Starlink. There's absolutely no cell service at all in this whole area. And if that fire continues on top of Mount Wilson, well, then there's going to be no radio coverage also for the entirety of LA. That is really, really scary news. And we pray it doesn't get to that, and I pray that firefighters are able to put that out before they lose that critical infrastructure. But we'll keep you updated on that right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. On the way, a lot more to cover. We got a snow day and a state of emergency in Middle Tennessee. We got Donald Trump. The sentencing was today, and he got is he going to jail? Does anybody know? He got an unconditional discharge. He's not going to jail, so we're just wasting money for that. Yep. Plus, the petty transition of power continues. All that and more on the way right here. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'll be right back. I'd use the restroom.
We'll give you the winter storm update. Snowfall totals expected to reach about 6 inches, but some locations could see more. Check with your airline if you have a flight to catch. We'll tell you what happened in Atlanta. And, of course, more on President-elect Donald Trump being sentenced in that New York hush money case. That's coming up at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is 11:25 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. I'm not going to call it bucolic yet, but I am in wonderful Murfreesboro, Tennessee, broadcasting live from the living room. It's a snow day here. The whole Hand family is in attendance, as you can see on the stream. We got the little ones. You want to say hi to everybody? Say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Say I'm having fun.
I'm having fun.
All right, it's a snow day. The kids just brought me in some snow ice cream. They grabbed some snow. They made some ice cream out of it. So thank you, kids. We got a lot to cover. Donald J. Trump, unconditional. What was it? An unconditional discharge? So you mean those felony convictions? It was just a waste of time and a waste of money? Yep. Alan Dershowitz breaking it all down on Fox News, saying Trump is going to appeal this to the Supreme Court. This is Alan Dershowitz moments ago on Newsmax. Excuse me.
Experience. Have I ever heard a judge announce in advance what his sentence was going to be? What he announced is, my sentence will be no sentence. That got two justices to be able to say, well, he's not going to jail, therefore we don't take the case. He should never have announced in advance what the sentence was going to be. By doing it, he was trying to influence the Supreme Court, and he apparently did influence two justices. Now, the good news for Trump is he has four justices who seem to think this case is worthy of review. All you need is 4 votes for certiorari. You need 5 votes to win the case, but all you need is 4 votes to have the case taken. So he will appeal. He will appeal to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will take the case. Once the case is taken on the merits, I think it will be reversed if lower courts don't already reverse the case. So this is an instance of judicial manipulation, game playing, Alice in Wonderland justice by Judge Marchand. He had one goal. He wants to have one of those trophies, hunters have, which have the animal that they killed hanging from their living room. He wanted a trophy with the head of Donald Trump that can be shown on it to everybody, all of his friends. He's the guy who sent Donald Trump into the status of being a convicted felon. I have some news. I will never call Donald Trump a convicted felon any more than I would have called a civil rights worker who was convicted of spitting on the street in the South when I was part of the demonstrations down there, a convicted felon. He is a convicted, innocent man, a convictedly framed up man. Nobody should call him a convicted felon, because that plays into the hands of the get Trump mentality that is destroying our legal system. And Marchand has contributed greatly to the destruction of our legal system, as has the district attorney of New York.
Yeah, honestly, it was a political witch hunt. It's what Donald Trump called it every step of the way. And they wasted taxpayer dollars to go after the president. And for what? Is he gonna go to jail?
He going to jail? He going to jail?
He's not. He's actually going to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue in 10 days. Deal with it. Cry more. Is he going to jail?
Is he going to jail? He going to jail?
He's not. Deal with it, libs. We're not going to refer to him as a convicted felon. Deal with it. We're going to refer to him as the president. Donald Trump did weigh in on Truth Social. He released a statement, and it sounded a bit like this. Oh, sorry.
A pathetic, un-American witch hunt. After spending tens of millions of dollars, wasting over 6 years of obsessive work that should have been spent on protecting New Yorkers from violent, rampant crime that is destroying the city and state, coordinating with the Biden-Harris Department of Injustice and lawless weaponization, and bringing completely baseless, illegal, and fake charges against your 45th and 47th president, me, I was given an unconditional discharge. That result alone proves that, as all legal scholars and experts have said, there is no case, there was never a case, and this whole scam fully deserves to be dismissed. The real jury, the American people, have spoken by re-electing me with an overwhelming mandate in one of the most consequential elections in history, as the American people have seen this, quote, case, close quote, had no crime, no damages, no proof, no facts, no law, only a highly conflicted judge, a star witness who was disbarred, disgraced, serial perjurer, and criminal election interference. Today's event was a despicable charade, and now that it is over, we will appeal this hoax, which has no merit, and restore the trust of Americans in our once great system of justice. Make America great again. So that is a statement from the incoming president on what happened today.
Yeah,
if the gag order's not off, it would appear to be.
Yeah, we got 10 days left until Donald Trump regains his rightful position at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. He's going to get back in that Oval Office. Deal with it. Deal with it. Unconditional discharge. Is he going to jail? He's not going to jail. It's 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 W.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Right now, I need to get you updated on the traffic situation in Nashville. It is actually not bad. It looks like a lot of people have heeded the warnings and have stayed home for the day. A lot of interstates look to be mostly wet, but there are some areas where it turns into slush and then ice on those bridges and overpasses. So you get up to speed and then all of a sudden you're hitting something like that. So officials are still advising folks to stay home. Now, about 80 miles south of Nashville, we've got an issue with Interstate 65 that has been closed northbound in Giles County. This is after a disabled vehicle there is blocking everyone's way. And maybe I spoke too fast here in Nashville. We just picked up a single vehicle crash, going to be 24 westbound at Haywood Lane. Got the full forecast coming up here in just a couple of minutes. Snowfall totals expected to reach 6 inches for the vast majority of Middle Tennessee today. It looks like some locations could see 8 inches, but the new model from the National Weather Service in Nashville that I'm looking at is that the places in Tennessee that are going to get 8 inches are going to stay west of Nashville. Again, TDOT's out treating the roads, Nashville crews too, but again, officials say stay home unless you absolutely have to get out today. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spice and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
It doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
So we had a great meeting with almost every senator, Republican senator, and I would say that first of all, it was a love fest. This is a love fest too, I believe. I'll let you know in about an hour. But this is pretty much a love fest. I mean, the governors aren't exactly chopped liver, right? This is a group of people that have done a phenomenal job, and especially when you see what's going on in Los Angeles and all. You look at the way they've run their states, it's incredible. I talk about it all the time. The top 25 states, and I don't believe we have any in the list of crime. So every one of them is a Democrat-run state. We want to get along with the Democrats. I'm trying to be nice. We're going into a new term. It's going to be a great time for them. I'm going to call it the golden age. I believe we have a chance at the golden age of America. But I have to tell you, you look at the crime, it's all on the shoulders of Democrats and the way they run their states. And if these people ran those states, same people, same everything, but you put these people in those states, you wouldn't have crime like that at all. So we had a great...
Yeah, that's Donald Trump. Press conference last night, meeting with all the Republican governors. And he says, it's a love fest here, although we'll find out an hour later when, news of the meeting leaks out. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand, and the show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. That's Donald Trump last night, Mar-a-Lago. And he has all the Republican governors down there. And, Trump is he's in good spirits, man. He's got 10 days until he takes back the White House. A lot of Americans are in good spirits when it comes to that. But there was a lot of questions that were being asked at this press conference that we do need answers for. One of the things that came up was the drones. And I love that we have real leadership willing to talk about these questions. It seems like the White House just said, it's nothing, never mind. And then the story disappeared. Their media allies stopped asking questions about it. But when you listen to Donald Trump and these Republican governors that are at the table last night in Mar-a-Lago, this drone story is still very, very big. And Trump said that on day one, he's going to be giving us a report on drones. And I don't know about you, but when I hear Trump talk about the drones, I do think that there's a lot more to this story. So listen to Donald Trump when he's asked about the drones over New Jersey.
A story that kind of disappeared very suddenly. Do you have any idea whatever happened to the drones?
What happened to drones?
Well, you had said that you thought the government knew what was happening with these drones over New Jersey. There were some by Bedminster.
I don't know. They're over Bedminster a lot, so I can imagine. I'm going to give you a report on drones about one day into the administration, because I think it's ridiculous that they're not telling you about what's going on with the drones. And it's not only with me. Glenn was telling me today that in Virginia they have drones all over the place, too, and nobody's reporting it. I don't know why they're not. Do you want to say something about that?
Just one quick comment, which is we are home to the largest naval base in the world in Quantico, and we house a lot of the SEAL teams and have a huge national security infrastructure. And now for 2 years running, we have had drone incursion over secure airspace, and we still don't know why. And I think that's absolutely unacceptable. And I think President Trump and the new leadership coming in, I think will work diligently to understand who's behind this and what we do in order to stop the digital surveillance of all of our secure infrastructure.
Do you hear what he said there right at the end? Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin, digital surveillance. That's interesting. It does seem like there's a lot more to this story. Maybe there's some truth to the reports that the drones are Chinese. And maybe there are people behind the scenes that know a lot more than they're letting on, because it wasn't just President Trump saying it. It wasn't just the governor of Virginia saying it, but you also had the governor of Louisiana and the governor of Wyoming weighing in as well. And here's what they had to say.
Is it dangerous?
Well, I can tell you this. While we were dealing with a terrorist attack in New Orleans, we had drones being flown over our nuclear reactors in Louisiana. And we brought that attention to the FAA. We've been asking the FAA to give these states the ability to mitigate these drones, and it's sitting on some bureaucrat's desk. And that's real.
Nobody knows. They don't want to talk about it. Go ahead, Governor, you're going to say?
I was just going to say we have drones in Wyoming flying over our infrastructure as well. And it's incredibly frustrating that we not only have no way of knowing what it is, but nobody knows how to deal with them.
They don't want to talk about it, and nobody knows why. They don't want to talk about it. That could be us sending drones. I hope that's the case, us doing it and doing research, and maybe they don't want to talk about it from that standpoint. I hope it's not an enemy, but we're going to find out on the 21st, the day after. You have to give me a little time for the inauguration, but shortly thereafter, we'll give you a report on it. We'll tell you exactly what it is. They know, and it's very strange that they aren't talking about it.
I mean, there's a lot to break down in that clip. You hear the Louisiana governor saying, we have stuff that could fix this, but it's sitting on a bureaucrat's desk. I mean, that seems like a tale as old as time. Bureaucrats getting in the way. That's one of the reasons why the American public overwhelmingly voted for Donald Trump. We're tired of this BS. We're tired of it. But you hear Virginia's Governor Glenn Youngkin saying that there are drones over military bases. You hear the Louisiana governor saying that there are drones over their nuclear sites, and that's after and during the terrorist attack that happened in New Orleans. And then you hear the governor of Wyoming saying, yeah, we have drones over our critical infrastructure as well. Maybe they can't say what the reason is, but it does sound like they all have an idea of what's going on. Right? Doesn't it seem to you like they may know a little bit more than they're letting on? And I want the full story, as I know you do as well. It's something that we're going to be following here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. In the meantime, we do have a state of emergency currently going on in Middle Tennessee. Snow is falling here in Murfreesboro as I broadcast live from the living room, and snow is falling all over the state. How is it impacting the roadways? Mason has an update on the roads currently. How are we looking? Is it better? Is it worse? What's your instant reaction?
Roads have gotten a lot better because people, I think, are heeding the warnings and staying home, especially as the snow has started to come down a lot harder over the past couple hours. But now it looks, at least out my window, snow's clearing up a little bit from here in downtown Nashville. The only wreck I see right now is on 24 westbound with the off-ramp at Haywood Lane, exit 57 over on 24. Got a crash right there over in the Antioch area. But other than that, we're pretty clear. We're still dealing with a little bit of backup on 40 from that salt truck with all those trucks that were backed up. But other than that, I think people are finally realizing, okay, this is a little heavier than what we were expecting. Let's stay home. Let's stay safe. And if we are going out, we're being as slow and as careful as need be.
Yes. I mean, listen, I grew up in Boston. I have a lot of experience driving in the snow. If you don't have experience driving in the snow and you're nervous, here's the key. You take it slow and you gently tap those brakes. Just tap, tap, tap. A little taparoo is all you need to do. And don't jerk the wheel. Don't slam the brakes. Don't slam the gas. That's gonna send you spinning. Just everything's gentle. Don't try and get around the guy in front of you. Stay in his tracks. It's the safest place to be. And when you get home, even if you're going slow, you get there a little bit later, it's better than not getting there at all. Nobody wants to be taking the boot leather express because they got their car stuck on the side of the highway. So take it slow. We'll be updating you on the roads all day long here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We got our top-notch news team back in the studio, and they're keeping their eyes on it. Chad Benson is going to be coming in. He'll be updating you on the roads after 12 o'clock. So we have the entire crew on standby. We may be dispersed in our own private locations, like myself, broadcasting from the living room, but we do have our eyes on the situation, and we'll update you as updates need to come through. Donald Trump last night in Mar-a-Lago, he had a horseshoe table of all the Republican governors, and they had a press conference. You know, it's nice to have a president that's doing press conferences again. It seems like Donald Trump, he'll do them whenever. He doesn't have an issue at all. One of the questions that were asked last night at this round table was about the CEOs that have been coming to visit Donald Trump. You know, the same CEOs who either censored or banned him off social media platforms, the same CEOs who had their newspapers trashing him. A lot of CEOs have come to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the ring, says Peter Doocy. And Peter Doocy wants to know why that is.
We've been watching over the last couple weeks, a lot of CEOs, including some who censored you 4 years ago, have been coming down here basically to kiss the ring. Did they change or did you change?
Well, maybe we all changed.
I love it. So maybe we all changed.
Or did you change?
Well, maybe we all changed.
I love that positivity. Maybe we've all changed. We've all grown.
So introspective.
Maybe we've all changed. It's so good. It's so good. But he has more to say about these CEOs. Keep going.
I think they've gained a lot of respect. I think they looked at the mandate that we got. As you know, we won the popular vote, as I said. We won all 7 swing states. They said, well, if Trump would win, I had to win 3 because I had a lot of early voting going on, and we had to win 3, and we won all 7. And we won them by a lot. We didn't win them by a little. We won them by a lot. And we won the popular vote by a lot. I think that had an effect. I also think it's like, let's get something done. You look at what happened with Facebook today and yesterday, what they announced. That was a big concession from them. I mean, they went from I call them the unlock boxes. They call them lock boxes. I call them the unlock boxes because they seem to be unlocked a lot of times. But you went from the unlock boxes into a statement yesterday that's really talking about free speech. What a difference that is. And so we appreciate that. But I think they've gained a lot of respect. We've had everybody. Jeff Bezos came, Bill Gates came, Mark Zuckerberg came. Many of them came numerous times. The bankers have all come. Everybody's coming. I haven't had anybody saying anything bad about me. I'm not used to it. But a lot of it's respect. I think they respect the Republican Party. The Republican Party has become a much bigger party. It's become a party for the worker. If you look at all of the union votes that I got, and when I say I, it's really all of us together because it's a whole thing. But we won the Teamsters. We did great with the auto workers. We did, all heavily union. And non-union states we won by a lot. Florida is an example. We won by millions of votes, the highest vote ever gotten. And so it's been a great period of time.
Well, listen, I think it was a wake-up call for a lot of these CEOs when Trump wins the popular vote, when he gets the mandate from the American public. But, he says, maybe they respect us a little bit more. I said, maybe they're motivated by fear. Personally, I think so. Maybe Mark Zuckerberg understands the censorship that he did in coordination with the federal government, via it on COVID or on the Hunter Biden laptop from hell in the lead up to 2020. Maybe he looks at all that and says, man, it is time to smooth things over because I don't want Trump and his DOJ to come sniffing around here. That's personally what I think the motivation is. I could be wrong. I'm not inside their heads and I'm not a mind reader. But from the outside looking in, that's how I'm looking at it. I know not everybody feels the same way. That's okay. That's just my assessment. It's 11:49 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The show's been brought to you by Better Water LLC. I appreciate you guys putting up with me while I've been broadcasting live from the living room. And Chad Benson is actually in studio. See, he hopped on the Boot Leather Express because he's 7 minutes away from the studio. So he hoofed it in there, braved the storm, and we'll check in with him next to see what Chad's got coming up on the Chad Benson Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I started work in the early 60s, and Tennessee had a deer stalking program already in place going, primarily from Clarksville base within the Fort Campbell area. From that area, a lot of deer were stalked in middle and west Tennessee, and then later on, we started taking deer from those areas and stalking other areas. So it was a progression. It moved pretty fast. The deer sometimes were faster than the stalkers were.
I bet that was pretty exciting trying to trap those deer and move them and know that you're making a huge impact.
Well, we wasn't all that confident.
Oh, really?
Because a lot of the counties had dog problems. They'd be wanting to dog the deer, and it didn't hold up under that kind of pressure. And we had to go back in and restock. And there was a lot of different types of law enforcement work that had to be done.
I hear you.
And the officers did a good job. And we talked to a lot of the judges, and they clamped down pretty hard on somebody poaching deer out there. Back then, we only put out 15 or 20 deer. It was critical. In fact, at that time, it could cost you your truck.
Yeah. It's an amazing success story. You hear folks saying, well, we didn't see a deer when I was a kid, and now you just have to walk out your back door and you got in a subdivision grazing or driving down the interstate highways or whatever, you see a deer just about every day.
Yeah, sometimes I wonder if we're too efficient.
Some folks say back in the good old days, but I don't know. Right now, hunting and fishing is really good.
It's 11:54 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. I'm Chris Hand. So we reported earlier that there was a suspect in custody via the LAPD that was detained by citizens with a blowtorch trying to ignite fires. It is now being reported that LAPD says they have no probable cause for that arson regarding the suspect arrested, and they've released him. So you get caught with a blowtorch by citizens trying to light fires, and they say no probable cause to hang on to him. I don't know, Chad, you're familiar with California. Is it normal to be walking around with a blowtorch?
No. And my thing is, does he live in the neighborhood? So wait a minute, sir. You're not from this neighborhood. You have a blowtorch. Now, I'm not saying he was trying to start fires. Maybe he was trying to figure out how he could break into houses and loot.
Maybe. That's actually a good point.
But they did. By the way, he had a parole violation, felony parole violation, so they didn't release him.
Okay, so he's still in custody.
He's still in custody, yeah.
Well, that is good news. What's your take on the recent developments in California with the wildfires? I mean, I know you're very familiar with the area. We're learning that the mayor had actually asked for, like $49 million more in budget cuts.
Yeah.
Just a few weeks ago, we learned that they couldn't test the fire hydrants because they were being fiscally responsible after those budget cuts.
There is a lot. It's a perfect storm, but the storm has a couple of my buddies they're actually fighting the fires today.
God bless them.
We deal a lot in reptiles, and we became friends that way. And they are actually, it's funny, they live in Orange County and they fly home. They live in Boise, and then they fly back to every 4 or 5 days, and they got called in early. And they were saying people have no idea how bad, like LA County has just been run into the ground. But they said it's been happening for like 2 decades, where it's just they take a little piece, a little piece there, a little piece here, a little piece there. And if you really need a paramedic and you really need a fire department, it may take them hours to get to you, just like the police, because there isn't enough of them, and they're overrun with calls every single day.
It's absolutely insane.
It is. It is.
And this is a city that's supposed to host the Olympics in a couple of years.
Oh, that'll be fine, I'm sure.
But if you can't put water in the fire hydrants, should you be allowed to host the Olympics?
Well, you can't put that much water in that. I said, because I asked my buddy, I said, dude, so what's the real thing? He goes, well, first of all, you need electricity in some of these areas, and those things will kill half the water pressure. The second is there was no way that they could have gotten in front of it earlier, but there was just they exhausted all the water. Because they haven't retrofit anything. They spent all of this. They won a big. They actually got a bond done. And they were super excited. They got this bond done. It was going to be $7 billion to go in, essentially, and expand everything so they could fill these things even higher. And what ended up happening was it got caught up in bureaucracy. So that $7 billion has not left an ounce, has ever left the bank account for anything to fix any of this stuff. So they're so far behind on all of this stuff. They're fighting fires with stuff that they should have been fighting fires with in the 80s.
Yeah. I saw a poor firefighter scooping water out of a pothole with a street cone.
Oh God!
I saw a firefighter using a handbag to get fire out of the truck, to get water out of the truck, and then run over and put out a fire. Which Community Notes on X said, no, they weren't handbags, they were canvas bags.
Yeah.
It's like,
whatever they were.
Great for the note, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Whatever they weren't something that modern firefighters have.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost to the point where it's like, everybody quick, grab buckets, and we'll just start doing the pass along.
Yeah, honestly, it's insane. And everybody says, this is fine. Don't worry. Biden's going to foot the bill for the next 6 months.
Yeah. Well, you know what, though? And this is something I'm going to talk about later. If I was Trump, I got a sneaky plan if I'm him. If I'm him, I got a plan that I think is going to – they're already starting to tip. People are already frustrated. And it showed in the last election, even in California in certain areas. Yep. Now they're ridiculously frustrated with everything. And could you tip it to the right for the first time in forever and a day because of this?
I mean, that feels like a tall order, but in light of recent events, you could see the potential there.
Oh, 100%, man. Now, I was watching you earlier today. I'm like, all right, I got to see Chris's setup because Dan looks like he's on a pretend set somewhere.
Yeah.
You're in your room, your wife's walking by, dogs are running around, there's kids. I'm like, that's nice. People are like, why is the door open, Chris?
Yeah, well, that's the door to the Florida room. It's not the door to outside. We're not that crazy.
Wait, if you walk through there, you go to Florida?
Yeah, that's how it works.
Man, that's
how it
pretty
works.
awesome.
We call it the flow row around my house.
I like that. Well, I know you're going to take off and go sledding.
Yes, Rutherford Boulevard. We're going to the MTSU Hill. So you know what? I'll be honest with you. I don't know if there's enough snow on the ground for it yet, and we may audible and just move to tomorrow morning.
Well, there's enough to have good snowball fights. I know that. Charlie and I, my 6-year-old, we went out and had snowball fights early this morning.
I love it. They must be jazzed coming from Arizona to get this snow.
They are over the moon. They think it's a mini blizzard. It's awesome.
Man, it's a blessing. Listen, stay safe out there on the roads. We'll be updating you on all the traffic conditions. All the weather reports will be at the top of the hour with Ken Weaver. And Chad Benson is in next. My show's been brought to you by Better Water LLC. Thanks for joining us. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.